She comes to us from Gilda's Club of Kentuckiana. Gilda's Club was founded on the belief that community is stronger than cancer, and no one should face cancer alone. That's a promise that Gilda's Club makes and keeps every single day, all for free to anyone who needs it. The woman who leads Gilda's Club Kentuckiana has built that organization into the largest cancer support community in the world. She's also a pediatric cancer mom herself, and she knows how it feels to need a community that shows up and stays. Please welcome Karen Wren Morrison.
I was standing in a small glass chamber just outside an isolation room at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. As the oncologist stepped in, I heard the airlock, that shh sound of the door closing, designed to keep germs out. He placed x-rays of my 5-year-old daughter's lungs up on the glass. As the light filtered through, he said, "Black is good, white is bad." Both of Kenzie's lungs were solid white, a double fungal lung infection with zero ability to fight it. "Miss Morrison," he said, "with or without a transplant, your daughter probably has 4 weeks to live. We should call in hospice." I didn't hear whatever he said next. I turned to look through the glass at my little girl in that big hospital bed, a tangle of tubes coming directly out of her chest, connected to a double-wide IV pole. She was looking away from me, and I followed her gaze through the window to the gray skies. I remember thinking, I haven't even been outside since we had arrived by air ambulance 2 days before, but I bet it was cold. It was Mother's Day, 2002. Suddenly, everything seemed really far away and muffled and muted, and I could only get tiny sips of air. As a gay kid from West Louisville, whose parents were both alcoholics, each married 6 times, all I ever really wanted was a life full of love and stability. We were poor. I had gone to 12 schools in 12 years. But as an adult, I had done it differently. I'd worked so hard to build a life full of love and stability. I had a nice home, a loving partner, 2 wonderful daughters, and it was all crumbling around me. Pinpoint bruises on Kenzie's eyelids and earlobes had spread in wide bands across her stomach, and what the doctor initially told us was probably just a virus, nothing to worry about, turned out to be very severe aplastic anemia, a disease we had never even heard of. If the bone marrow is a garden that grows red cells, white cells, and platelets, the doctor explained to Kenzie, then leukemia is like weeds in the garden. But with aplastic anemia, there are no seeds. Nothing grows. I forced my brain back into that chamber where the doctor was still talking. He said, "Now don't get me wrong. I will work my butt off to save her. We'll take her to transplant on a ventilator if we have to." Like me, he was 39 years old and had 2 young daughters, and I believed he would work his butt off to save her. I so wanted to say thank you for that, but afraid some otherworldly howl would escape if I tried to speak. I only nodded. I couldn't have known then the years of insecurity and uncertainty that lay ahead. All I knew in that moment was I have to do anything I can possibly do to help save my child. She needed a bone marrow transplant, ideally from a matched sibling, but her only sibling, my younger daughter Jillian, was not a match. A search of the International Bone Marrow Registry turned up 0 matches, 0. But there had to be a way. I asked the doctor, is there any way we could use frozen embryos I have left over from prior infertility treatment to create a bone marrow match? I had had a hysterectomy, but my sister said she would be my surrogate. Now I knew, even if my sister could carry my child, a long shot, The chance of that baby being a perfect match was only 25%. But I would have cut a path through a mountainside with a box cutter to give Kinsey any chance. 6 months later, an amniocentesis showed that baby, another girl, was a perfect match. Kinsey was so sick, she was barely hanging on. She had high fevers, her kidneys were failing. The chemo that was keeping her alive was poisoning her liver. But I thought, if the doctor could just keep her stable enough until the baby arrived. Finally, I had real hope. And then at only 34 weeks, my sister gave birth to a tiny baby girl. We named her Tegan. And when Tegan was 4 months old and 11 pounds, the doctor said she was finally big enough to donate bone marrow to her sister. But just days before that transplant was scheduled to happen, Kinsey began showing signs of remission. So instead of starting a year of isolation, she started first grade. And at the end of that school year, on June 8th, 2004, 27 months after our journey began, the doctor declared her in remission. Yet year after year, that stability that I longed for continued to seem elusive. It always seemed to be just right around the next corner. Every time she got labs, I felt like we were gingerly walking on the thinnest of ice, fearful of a plunge into relapse. When she was 11, her heart stopped 7 times in one day. She needed a pacemaker. When she was 12, she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, likely due to all the radiation, and ironically, treated with more radiation. I resented sleep because I never knew how much time we had. Like the sound of my grandmother's clock on the mantle, life was this constant swing of the pendulum from fear to joy and back. Birthday parties and school plays, 3 a.m. fevers, sandcastles on the beach, ICU stays, midnight Christmas Eve toy assemblies, and then before I knew it, graduations from high school, then college. At times, life seemed almost normal, but never quite. I just wanted us to get off that roller coaster we'd been on for more than 2 decades, but we stayed strapped in. And then last April, 1 year ago this month, a trip to Johns Hopkins Hospital revealed Kinsey had relapsed. She needed that bone marrow transplant. And so 22 years, 2 months and 2 days after it was originally scheduled, my youngest daughter, Tegan, did one of the many things she was born to do, save her sister. I watched Kinsey go through toxic chemo, total body irradiation, sepsis, fevers of 104 plus. I spent 101 days with her in isolation. But last month, that doctor at Johns Hopkins enthusiastically declared the transplant a success, and Kinsey is here with us tonight with both of her sisters. Through 19 of those years, we had Gilda's Club, the community of support along the way. And we lived what we tell everyone who comes to Gilda's Club: live your life fully, even while cancer is a part of it, with joy and style and purpose and meaning, and yes, even with laughter. As for stability, I finally figured it out. It's not just around the next corner. It's in me. It's in my wife. It's in my daughters. We had it all along. Thank you.
Ren Morrison. Thank you, Ren. And while we're at it, let's just continue. A special round of applause for the Morrison family. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Great to see you.